Michelle Obama, don't we? And the wonderful Barack Obama. Well, it was actually Michelle Obama's birthday, and Barack Obama wanted to actually, surprise her, take her out, for a great dinner, and he knew her best restaurant and took her to her best restaurant. And while they were there, the owner of that restaurant actually came up to them, and said, "Please, could you excuse me for a moment?" He asked the president, the former president, "Can I speak to your wife, Michelle Obama?" He said, "Yeah, that's no problem. It's very fine." And they went out. While they were out, he told Michelle Obama that, "You know what, we went to the same school. Maybe you don't even notice me because you were so, confident. You were very ambitious. I had a, a crush on you. I loved you so much, but I couldn't even approach you because I was not that confident. But I just thought I should tell you now, I've always had this burden in me. I'm happily married now, and I know you're happily married, but I just felt like telling you this would kind of relieve me from that burden." And she said, "Oh, thank you so much. That's so kind of you." And she walked back to her seat, and Barack Obama, of course, asked her, "What did he say?" And she told Barack Obama what he said. And Barack Obama cheekily said, "Oh, that's so lovely. If you got married to this gentleman today, you would have been the owner of this beautiful restaurant." But then he was the president. Then Michelle Obama said, "Oh no, you're mistaken. If I got married to this gentleman today, he would have been the president of the United States of America, and I would still have been the first lady of this country." That just shows how powerful women are.
Thank you for coming to this. It's a proud moment, actually, and I've got to say thank you to Councillor Natalie Nicholas, because I would not be sitting here as honorary president, and I wouldn't have been chair of the Liverpool Commonwealth Association if she hadn't introduced me to it and actually asked me to get involved as chair, going back 4 years ago now, so a long time ago, and we're still here. And well done with Sylvia taking on the role as chair of the Women's Forum, and Garth for taking on the role of the amazing Liverpool Commonwealth Association's chair, and Vanessa, who's filming us now. What an activist! What a person who does stuff. And actually, talking about balance, balance is also about people that do stuff. Not talk about doing stuff, but actually doing stuff. And it's people like Vanessa that's been a mainstay for ensuring that the Commonwealth Association and the men, there was too many men involved, not enough women, and I'm glad to see that that's changing. And it's actually been led originally by the likes of Natalie and by the likes of Vanessa in ensuring that men listen. And I think part of the problem with balance is that sometimes men don't listen enough. So it's my job with Natalie, and hopefully Bissy, when she gets elected in May, she'll tell you all about that. Brilliant. We need more women in politics. We need more women actually being allowed to get involved in politics, because I know that there are many women in here who would love to be a politician. I've got to tell you, it's not easy. It's not easy, but it's so worthwhile. You can make such a difference in our schools. You can make such a difference in our communities. You can make such a difference in our politics. I've done lots of amazing stuff that people like Natalie allowed me to do. That is the Commonwealth Association and all the supporters of that. But also I became Lord Mayor of the city. And do you know what? It taught me even more about listening, about faith, about gender, about diversity, about the difference that people have, and actually respect that difference and involve that difference in what we can all do together.
As a woman, there are so many obstacles we have to endure, and we need strong women to support us. We need women who, and from the Caribbean, we grew up with an extended family, and in most African countries where you have your aunt, your cousin, some of them, they're no blood relations whatsoever, but it takes a community to bring up a child, and we need to have each other's back. The way our community is and the pressures put on us by society, sometimes you don't have that time to vent or for someone to listen. And we need, as women, to have that sister or brother who would be there to support us. And likewise, we need to be our sister's keeper. So it's not just one way. So in terms of that, that's what we need to do more and more. We need to step back and think, it's not all about me. There are other people we should be supporting to get to where they want to, or just give them a cup of tea. You know, just sometimes just sitting there and listening can make so much of a difference.
Lovely, thank you very much. It's great to be here. So in terms of balance for better, first of all, I'd say that this is something that's really dear to my heart. You know, when I saw the topic for, or the theme rather, for the International Women's Day, I was actually just beaming with a smile on my face, because I think this is something I've done all my life, you know, as a carer, as a mom to 2 children, special needs. So my entire parenting journey is just basically been about running helter-skelter from one hospital appointment to the other, and therapies and all that. So I feel balance for better is not just about having a good mix of abilities and talents, you know, women, making sure that we have a good gender balance. So we have leadership positions that are not just filled by men, but by a good talent pool of women as well. But I think it's also achieving some sort of contentment within your mind, body and soul. That was the reason why I started with the fact that this topic is really dear to my heart, because when you have children with special needs, honestly, combining that with a career or work or anything is really, really tedious. And I think one of the key things that people always ask is, how do you actually stay sane? How do you do this? And now I'm into politics, and I support lots of parents who have children with special needs as well. So balance for better for me is just getting to that point where you know when to say no, because there's going to be so many demands for your time. You know how to look after yourself. That is what this topic really means to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I think the big challenge for us is confidence. So, you know, we want to do things, but we don't believe we can do it. We have got restrictions if we've got children, so we've got constraints at home, trying to fit everything in. It's easy for us not to push ourselves forward. So the biggest challenge for me, and when I deal with people in business all the time and women in business, is for them to believe that they're able to do it. And I hope that I encourage them all the time to push themselves out of their comfort zone, but also encourage them to find ways around things like childcare, to do it very differently to make that sure they can move forward. So I do think, ladies, if we can do anything to encourage ourselves and other people to do a better job and have belief in what we can do, that's the best thing we can do.
Thank you for inviting me today, Sylvia. It's really, I'm really truly honoured to be sitting at this panel today with such incredible people, and thank you to the audience for listening. For me, it's about accepting you for who you are, and for men of society to accept women as not just a sex object, as a person with a personality, with a mind of their own, who wants to achieve in life by not sleeping the way to the top. I had to walk away from a 25-year career through sexual harassment, and had a breakdown, was being sectioned. Without the support of my husband and my 3 sons, I wouldn't be sitting here today. Thank you. So what I would say to anyone who has a dream, push yourself forward, as Lorna said, believe in what you are, because through all of that I lost my confidence, but what I didn't lose was the belief in me and the self-esteem to say, I am worth more, I am a person, and I am not a sex object. I never have been and I never will be. So please believe that you are worth everything you truly want to be.
I'll share with you some of the challenges that I have as a woman who works in business in terms of owning a private company. And I think one of the things you've got to do is get over the fear factor. So I think there's a little bit of imposter syndrome in all of us where we think, can I do this? Should I be doing this? And you've got to be really brave. But when I decided to start a business, I'd sold my house. I'd moved back into my mum's for 2 years, so there was a little, you know, less risk. I was sleeping in a single bed with a poster of Tony Montana on the top and R. Elliott's Xbox at the bottom of the bed. And yeah, it was just like being back home and being a teenager. But it creates the perfect storm where I thought, actually, I now feel like I can take a bit of a chance here. And what I have found is, from where I work, is it's very much about the network, who you know, what you do. I found that network to be quite toxic. And I think what we need to do as women is to actually support each other. So I've been really interested about women in the city who are tweeting and supporting women. But actually, it's more interesting the women that they leave out. And you're saying, well, actually, those cartels don't just happen in the male networks. There's female cartels as well. So as women, I think one of the challenges is to actually learn to be more gracious with our experience, with our time, and to generally help each other rather than to use each other.
You often find that it brought me to the question of women and voluntary work. That's what I'd like to say something about, because I think there is still an expectation that a lot of sort of caring jobs, this and that, you know, women can do it anyway and you can volunteer. And I take the view that a lot of those jobs should be paid work. You know, you shouldn't need volunteers to push wheelchairs in the hospital. It should all be paid work. If people need to be taught English, it should be paid work. If it's not highly paid work, it should be paid work. And I thought perhaps you could say something about whether women should just volunteer as they do with their children, with their elderly, with their, you know.
Absolutely agree. I think if you're going out doing good and adding value, you should be paid for it. I don't think it's just women though. I think it's our children. I think it's about how we're bringing them through. I get really cross when I hear about people, businesses who advocate we're bringing youth in and we're putting them in these amazing initiatives, and guess what, they're coming for experience but we're not paying them. We're expecting them to come and work for us for a year and we're not going to pay them. That's wrong. For me, if you do a day's job, you get paid for that day's work.
What is the role of established and successful women and female leaders or role models in the creation of a balance for better or balance for better?
I think if you get to the point where you are successful and you are established, I think one of the things we have a responsibility to do is to see how you can help and how you can contribute, not just to females but to the wider society. Sometimes you have to say things that people don't want to hear, but it's saying in the right way. But if things don't go unchallenged, you have a status quo and the balance will not be addressed.
You should also give back, and if you have established yourself, bring people under your wing, mentor them to be the best person they can be, and be the voice for the voiceless. That's really important.
It's about being authentic. So it's about knowing who you are and holding true to those beliefs, and as you say, standing up sometimes and saying them when it's not popular. So for me, it's all about being authentic is how we can make a big difference.
The answer to that question is actually, we're here, you're doing it now. That really is the answer. It's the Women's Forum, it's the women on this table, not me, and it's the fact that we should be, again, listening, and you're doing it all, so well done.
I believe that we should actually have a good diversity. We need to recognize that everybody has something inside of them. And I always say that women, we already have the skills in us. We can work under pressure. You know, we're great at multitasking. So I think we have to try to identify the skills that everyone basically has on the inside and just, you know, just basically encourage other women.
Thank you. I agree with what everyone has said so far. And the other thing is, it's just, you know, being thankful to people, because sometimes we're there at the top and we forget the people who supported us to get there. And I always say to my residents, you know, because they think councillors are like God. I said, I'm a resident, I'm a councillor today, I'm a resident still. So at any time, I might not be a councillor and I'll be back to level ground. So it's about not being on the hierarchy, but seeing people and respecting people and always trying to support people whenever you can.
What must women stop doing or do differently in order to successfully maximize their unique and diverse abilities and foster the creation of a better and inclusive society overall?
In terms of responsibility, sometimes I think it's really hard to look in the mirror and say, well, you know, did I approach that the right way? Was I, you know, did I respond to that in the right way? How do we move forward? I do reflect quite a bit. We all make bad choices, and I think as women, sometimes you have to forgive yourself, and you also have to go, do you know what? It's not the end of the world, because everybody makes mistakes. Everybody gets things wrong. Doesn't matter if you're female, if you're male, whatever your age is. You really have to forgive yourself and sort of go, I'm trying the best that I can with what I've got.
Accept responsibility and don't take things too personal, because sometimes when someone gives us constructive feedback, we can take it the wrong way. So accept that gracefully, because we can all learn and we can all make that change.
For me, we've got to stop being guilty. guilty because I'm a bad mum, guilty because I'm a bad wife, guilty because I left work on time, guilty because I didn't do this. We do the guilt bit really, really well. We probably have to stop being guilty and recognise when we're doing things well and appreciate it and celebrate it when we get it right.
So I'll just say two things about this. First of all, I think it's important for us to note that as a woman, you cannot pour from an empty cup. So you have to constantly just fill up your cup, look after yourself, look inwards and just say, am I actually overworking myself? And to be honest, this is actually a note to myself. You have to pause occasionally and just say that while you're looking after everybody else, someone has to look after you. So you do have to take that point. And the other thing is, I'll just quickly say this, is be a woman that fixes another woman's crown without actually telling the world that, you know. So don't deliberately bring another woman down by the things you say and what you do.
We're human, we're not perfect. And sometimes we need to recognize that we can't expect people to be perfect. So sometimes people might say things or do things that might hurt us. And it's just saying everyone's not perfect. The other thing is getting thick skin, because sometimes people are quite offended quite easily. So, you know, grow thick skin. I've learned to grow thick skin over the years.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amira Akpan. I'm the current Miss Teen Africa. I have been reigning for 2 years now, and I've done several projects. I'm currently working on my organization called You Go Girl. So what we do is that we help young girls in the community, secondary schools. We go into secondary schools and we help them to build self-confidence skills. We help with mental health issues as well. Also, we do journal writing where we help them to reflect on themselves and who they are and who they can become as women. With the question that I was asked, thank you very much. What I could say to the panel, to all the women that are here as well, is that as mothers, sometimes I have a mom. My mom, she's an amazing woman. We forget sometimes to express our opinions to our moms. Sometimes we get scared of sitting down with our mom to let them know an issue that might be arising in school due to fear of like background, because I'm from Nigeria. So sometimes it's difficult to approach a situation to your mom. But when a mother opens her arms, our moms always open our arms anyways. But when they open their arms and you sit down with your door and you listen to her, it's good to advise her in the way that she needs to go. Don't push her away. Just make her know that it's good, you know, to branch out, to do new things, explore the world. Because my mom's pushed me a lot. She's done a very good job as a mom. So I've been able to meet presidents. I've been able to sit down with them and talk about what we can do to change back home in Africa and what we can do to help young girls here. So it's good for also company owners or business women to integrate young girls. If a girl comes up to you, like an event now, do not be afraid to listen to what they have to say, the ideas that they might have for the community. Take it on board, see how you can personally work with them, experience that you can give them during the summertime to bring them out of their comfort zone. Sometimes little events for young girls in secondary schools or even in the community, in a park, just bring them out just so that they can know that it is good to be a woman. There's things that you can do, you can achieve a lot. And I love the way you spoke about fixing the women's crown. I'm wearing one now, but even when this comes off, I'm still Amira. With it on, I'm still Amira. But it's good for us to have open arms to everyone, young girls especially, because there's a lot of problems arising with young girls now in regards to social media. A lot of them are committing suicide. Suicide rates have tripled due to abuse in secondary schools. So it's good for us to work with them any way that we can and push them. Don't push them too hard for them to be scared. Sometimes some of them can be really shy and they might not want to go out into the world, but just give them a little kick and you never know what they can do with themselves. But yeah, that's all I can say for now.
I want you all to have a think about it, but I'll ask you some questions and maybe you can just give me your thoughts on this. What we want to really do is look at how we can get rid of fear amongst our communities as women and really come up with some strategies really of how we can do that, you know, because as we heard on the panel, there is a lot of competition amongst women, and as I said before, we really do rise by lifting up others. And as women, we've all got a responsibility, haven't we, to do that, to help each other, to show, you know, if someone's crown is wonky, to help them rather than criticising them. So let me ask you, what do you think that we could do in terms of helping other people to thrive, especially as women in leadership? Is there anything that comes to mind for you?
Thank you very much. I don't know if this is like for women in leadership, but I do strongly believe that women come to the table without the expectation that they can negotiate well. I had an opportunity to look at a cartoon, and it was like executive people. You have like 3 women and 3 men, and before the women, they were like washing, they were like cooking. It's like, try to visualize it. It's like a trap with like 3 women, but they had to like pass all those hurdles. I think we should always come to the negotiating table with the expectation that we deserve it, even in our homes. You know, like, I deserve to have one night of doing what I like. You know, a woman needs to give herself a break, that the world won't come crashing down, and expect that if she says, I need your help in this, it will be done. I think when we have that expectation, I think then we can thrive better. We can do better if we believe that, okay, I deserve this, then I can ask for it, I can negotiate better for it.
What I'd like to pick up on is the fact that, you know, it's about not comparing yourself to other people and standing in your own power. But that does come through action. You know, a lot of my clients come to me and say, Shazne, can you make me more confident? And I say to them, confidence comes through action. And it's that repeated action. At first, it's a little bit nerve-wracking, but just keep building those empowering beliefs. And I think unhealthy competition is when you're comparing yourself to somebody else. You realise that you're not rising up, you're not lifting others up because you're comparing yourself to them. We need to stop doing that, don't we? Let's lift each other up.
Well, we have a belief in ourselves that there's a scarcity of resources or a scarcity of opportunities, and really we need to think that, and we need to believe that there's abundance of opportunities, because the opportunities don't come from us, they come from the universe, from God, you know, and they are limitless. And we only have to compete with each other if we think there's a scarcity of resources.
When you're really intentional about what you're doing in your daily life, then you've got that focus. So I say to my ladies, throughout the day, whether you're really manically busy or not, you can go to 4 sanctuaries. Who wants to go to a sanctuary? Nice, isn't it? Yeah. So those 4 sanctuaries are silence, stillness, solitude, and simplicity. So if you're feeling just so frazzled, just take a moment and step into one of those sanctuaries.
A year ago, I kind of realised that I was perhaps not getting the work-life balance right, and spent Saturday mornings running around while my husband went off to the gym and did whatever he wanted to do, and my son went off and did whatever he wanted, and dutifully I ran around the house and cleaned so that it was all done before they got back, so that we could then have the afternoon. And I suddenly realised nobody else cared. I was the only person creating this, so I reclaimed Saturday mornings. Now, that doesn't mean I don't clean, it just means I don't have to. I gave myself permission that Saturday mornings until lunchtime, they're mine. I can lie in my bed and read my book, I can get up and do the garden, I can clean the house if I so wish to, but they are mine.
That's your non-negotiable.
My non-negotiable is to practice daily gratitude, because no matter what happens in our life, there's always something to be grateful for. Even if it's that we're still here, God has still got a purpose for us. So, very important.
So how can we work with the forum, the Women's Forum, to really identify, first of all, career and business opportunities?
Gary would share what he has. I haven't seen that in many politicians. Yes, Natalie is amazing, sorry. But I haven't seen that in many politicians. Gary would say, look, you're looking for this project this lady here has. You're looking for this other project this lady has. Love each other. It's the first commandment as a Christian, But I suppose it's every religion. Love each other, share what you have.
There's always a way, and I think knowing that and having the mindset that, okay, I didn't do it this time, I can do it next time. I didn't do it this way, I can do it next way. It's important, not just for your business, but for your lifestyle, for your friends, your family, your partner. Every day you will come across something good, bad, and ugly. Take it in, learn from it, and say it's okay.
Sometimes we also think that resilience is something through adversity, and sometimes we do build up that resilience through adversity, but also it's that, as other people have said, about positive mindset. And you know, sometimes you've got that glass ceiling, or you've got that, you know, that block, and it's just about, you know, your someone said this phrase to me once, that your persistence can break down their resistance, you know. And it's about, sometimes even if people are resistant to you reaching a particular position, if you're persistent with it, then eventually, you know, you're gonna get through it. But it's just having that patience and that fortitude, and sometimes it's really hard to find it. And I think as black women, we have, you know, we've got so much on us, and we're always being told to be strong, and we're like the ones that hold the family, and we're the ones that hold the community. And sometimes it's really hard to, you know, channel that and kind of keep that strength, and then at the same time battle against, you know, like you know, inequalities, or battle against like prejudices and things. But I think resilience is so important for all, you know, for women from any background, but especially for the ME women. And I just think that's kind of something for the Women's Forum, is to really focus on that aspect, that, you know, you might come up against this, but this is how you deal with it, this is how you know, keep, you know, and that support and meeting up and talking and sharing our stories will really help us with keeping our you know, keeping our hope up, keeping our practice up, you know.
So true. There's so much. I think we've got a lot there to be getting on with in terms of creating a strategy. So thank you so much for your attention. It's been a huge privilege to facilitate this today.
I want to express my heartfelt gratitude, first of all, to our chair, who I'm calling now, to thank you, the wonderful God, Dallas. He's actually the driving force behind the Liverpool Commonwealth Association Women's Forum, even though I stand here. And there have been some amazing ladies. Anna Green, the associate lead of the Women's Forum, and Vanessa Boateng. Thank you so much for your support. She is the General Secretary of the Commonwealth, the Liverpool Commonwealth Association.